Nothing says a football match is divisive, quite like seeing people pull out and quote the rule books to win an internet argument. I can only imagine what the average Bayern Munich household was feeling in this moment, or this moment. Perhaps Kompany's reaction gives us some insight. Reminder that PSG have gone to back-to-back Champions League finals immediately after Kylian Mbappe left, and Real Madrid are currently in a civil war. Arsenal are in their second ever Champions League final and have some serious positive energy on their back. The finish line is closer than it ever has been, as their last 3 games in the league are against bottom 5 teams. They are top of the league and in a European Cup final. Reports of their death 2 weeks ago were greatly exaggerated. On a more unfortunate side, somehow Antoine Griezmann is finishing his European football career with no La Liga and no Champions League, despite playing for Barcelona and Atletico Madrid between 2014 and 2026. Considering that Barcelona and Atletico won a combined 8 league titles in those 12 years, and he missed every single one of them, is crazy. Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Tinashe, welcome back. The Champions League final is set. Arsenal versus PSG. Now I want to talk a little bit more in detail on that specific matchup and kind of my own thoughts about it. I think it's a lot closer than a lot of people may want you to believe. We're talking about the best attack in the competition against the best defense in the world, or at the very least in the top 5 leagues. Both are the best 2 teams in their respective countries and both are villains, depending on who you ask, and of course for different reasons. I already know that Declan Rice is praying for that 1-week break he's gonna get in between the Champions League final and joining England for the World Cup. He's gonna need it. But first, let's talk about the semi-finals and how they got to the finals in the first place. So, funny story, I actually did not watch the first leg of the Bayern vs PSG match because I was out for a friend's birthday, and before anyone asks, yes, as I checked the scoreline on my way back home, I formally put that friendship in review. Making me miss potentially the best semi-final of my lifetime has consequences. So I prepared for the second leg, mentally readied myself for the greatness we were all about to witness, just champagne football, you know, the peak of everything that we love. After 1 minute of the game, I stood up to get a snack, only to return to Ousmane Dembele wheeling away to the corner flag. And then it was another 90 minutes until the next. But like I said, I still enjoyed the match. Bayern clearly wanted to start this match on the front foot, so they didn't say no to their stereotypical high line. They also were clearly instructed to not give PSG players any space, which is why we see Upamecano follow Kvaratskhelia here. But it was just all too easy to get the better of him, swivel and go off to the races. Of course he's gonna assist Dembele here with this much space, and of course it's gonna be 1-0. Whenever a goal is scored that early on, you can almost see a team's game plan disintegrate in real time. Bayern were very clearly rattled after that initial setback, and you could see it. And this allowed PSG to really just hunker down and prioritize containment. Harry Kane got his goal in the end, but it's quite obvious he was having a horrible time playing with his back to goal the whole game. PSG didn't let Bayern through the middle whatsoever, forcing them out wide. Olise was ineffective. Diaz had some good moments early on, but that fizzled into nothing. With Hakimi gone, Zaire Emery really struggled against him. But as soon as the team realized that was happening, it never happened again, as they all ensured that Zaire Emery would never have to defend Diaz alone ever again. Now, I've watched this Bayern side rotate the ball from side to side quite a few times in this season, but the way PSG shifted their entire line, the way they supported each other when doubling up was just incredible. Maybe not so much from a Bayern perspective. And I think the biggest kind of visual representation of the frustration from Bayern Munich and the determination from PSG was late in the game when Alphonso Davies comes on, fresh legs and all that, and he attempts to beat Warren Zaire Emery in a foot race, and we all know Alphonso Davies is a bit of a speed demon, but he loses. Now, also, he's not 100% fit, and he has probably lost quite a bit of that explosiveness thanks to some recent injuries, but I think just watching that happen, I realized this is not going to be their day. Well, I realized this quite a bit earlier on in the game, but that was the nail. Oh, it's never this black and white, but it's not a stretch to say the Kompany was just out-coached by Luis Enrique. Bayern had no plan B. Davies is obviously much more than just his pace, and for that reason, he probably should have come on a bit earlier in that game. As soon as he did, Bayern did look better. The same goes for Nicholas Jackson too. I don't think it's a coincidence that Kane had enough space to take 3 touches in PSG's box for the first time so late on. Manuel Neuer had a blinder of a game himself after famously not making a single save in last week's game. He made several important ones here. There was not one bad performance from PSG players in this entire game, in my opinion at the very least, and from that perspective, I guess it makes the officiating a little bit less hard of a pill to swallow, though the ref was questionable, but PSG were just so much better, right? Let's move on to the controversy. The penalty no call that's caused everyone to go check the rule books. Neves has his hands up, Vitinha hits his hand in PSG's box. Now, I was unaware of this, but there is a rule that states that it's not a handball if it strikes a teammate's hand. Now, I don't support either of these teams, but if I did, if I supported Bayern more specifically, I think my blood would be boiling a little bit, because Neves has his hand in an as unnatural position as you possibly can. He's not blocking his face or anything like that. Obviously, he's not trying to block the clearance from his teammate Vitinha, so this doesn't really benefit them at all, but it's just the height of his hand and the way it all happened, I don't know. If I were a Bayern fan, it would rub me the wrong way. If I was a PSG fan, I'd be very happy about that. Very happy. Especially considering that the official rules also state that if the ball goes off a player and hits his own hand, it's not a handball. But that's how PSG got a penalty in the first leg, isn't it? But again, we're not going to talk about anything that happened in the first leg because I think too much happened in there to also include it in this video. But also, do the official rules actually mean anything if this is what's considered a handball these days? Mendes then handles the ball. He's already on a yellow. If this was called, you could see it being a second yellow card because Leimer would have been through on goal without this handball. From the angle that the linesman has over here, I can see why he would think that this was a handball. And I also don't think that VAR can intervene for these kinds of infringements. PSG were better. I think we can all agree upon that, at least to some extent. But if this was called, what kind of a match do we have if there's 60 minutes left? We're at the Allianz Arena, Bayern need a goal, and they're playing 11 versus 10. Speaking of controversy with referees, let's move on to the other semi-final, because that was not short of them either. Now, I think this referee over here, if I'm honest, I think he probably maybe should have just had a day off, because there were so many calls for Arsenal and Atletico Madrid that would have set my head to the moon if I was supporting either of them. Marc Pubil stamps on Calafiori, then he commits a last man challenge on Gyökeres, but still finished the game on the pitch. Next, Pubil and Gabriel both go for the ball. Pubil actually gets a slight touch, Gabriel gets air and actually kicks Pubil, but he still goes down and buys a free kick just before Calafiori stamps on Griezmann in the box. At one point, Leandro Trossard is wiped out in the box by Griezmann, and nothing is called. There were a few other moments from both teams, transgressions over here and over there, but I think you get the picture. If any of these are called, I doubt that many opposition fans have much of a leg to stand on in terms of opposing them. I think this was a classic case of a referee making one bad call and then kind of trying to fix it or make it better for the other team by not calling other bad calls, and then it just snowballs. But again, like in the last game, at this level, we can't really rely on refereeing decisions and lean on them as a crutch for why things went the way they did. And don't take my word for it, take the manager of Atletico Madrid's word, Diego Simeone. Controversies? Nothing to say, we're out. Congratulations to Arsenal because they compete very well. They have a team and a coach that I like. They follow a coherent project with strong financial backing. Congratulations to them, and we'll focus on our work. Case closed, I guess. So moving on to the goal that actually sent Arsenal into the finals, it was not really anything extraordinary to it. I think a lot of people would probably chalk it down to just a rebound, but like Arsenal were that night, it was well worked, and they deserve probably a bit more credit for it. Everything that set it up was fantastic. Saliba slides Gyökeres in, it gets floated to Trossard, who gets a clean shot out, forcing Oblak into a good save, and Saka is just faster than everyone else. Victor Gyökeres had a really good performance in this game, I thought. His runs were timed so well, he pulled those Atletico defenders here, there, and everywhere. His expected hair adjustments per 90 were also pretty good. I think if Arsenal do win big this season, then a lot of his detractors are probably going to change their tune a little bit and do a bit of revisionism, myself included. Listen, I've felt that Arteta has left him out of some very crucial games this season. I think in recent memory, I'm thinking about the Man City game from 2 weeks ago where he was only brought on with like 5 minutes left, and then at other crucial moments, maybe he hasn't performed as well or pulled something out the bag. He quietly does his job really well, and I think Arsenal fans should be happy with him. But then again, narratives change very quickly, don't they? Diego Simeone left a lot to be desired here. After taking off all three of Alvarez, Griezmann, and Lookman, nothing was the same. Now, I understand that Alvarez had a bit of discomfort, so I think he apparently requested to be taken off, and Griezmann can't press and run for as long as he used to, but it really put a halt on everything. Sörloth had a chance later on in the game coming off the left side, or was just slid into him and he fluffed his lines, and I think if either Griezmann or Alvarez are on the pitch, they bury that. Possibly Lookman too. At this point, we have to take our hats off for Mikel Arteta. I was telling a friend the other day that he needs to be smug about winning if all comes true for them. He's had to weather a lot of criticism, and it comes with the territory, I guess, but I don't know, I think him and Arsenal in general have taken quite a lot of flack as of late. And football fandom, every football fandom has their crazies, but a lot of people would like you to believe that Arsenal's are the worst. For many social media reasons and all that, but I'd like to tell you that it's true. No, I'm joking. It's not. Arsenal have a great squad, but they are not perfect. I don't think they have any players capable of grabbing a game just by its neck and winning it all by themselves. They have players like Saka, for example, who's great, but he's not really that kind of a player. He's a facilitator. He's so good at so many other things, but even if he was that kind of player, he's been playing injured and at maximum 70% for almost 2 years now, right? Obviously, Arteta knows all of this, which is why he makes Arsenal play the way they do. He makes sure they maintain their structure at all times, swap positions seamlessly, track back as a unit, stamp out counterattacks, employ tactical fouls, play just dirty enough to sort of toe the line between legal and illegal and make the ref question whether a call that they're about to make is controversial or not. I'm pretty sure that everyone had already written off either Arsenal or Atletico Madrid in favor of whomever was going to be the winner of the other semi-final, and fair enough. These two teams, Bayern and PSG, were pretty much crowned the unofficial champions of Europe, or the best two teams of Europe, about a month ago, purely because of their attacking flair. And now in the final, we have the best attack against the best defense. Arsenal fans were probably hoping that they were going to face Bayern Munich in this final. It makes sense. They've already beaten them once in this year's competition in the group stages. It's actually one of the 3 losses that Bayern have incurred this whole year. The others being PSG and Augsburg. Shout out to Augsburg. Against PSG, Arsenal clearly have the physical advantage, so I can definitely see them going more conservative, playing for corners and winning in that way, which we all know that they can. Despite the fact that balls seem to gravitate to João Neves' head, it's no secret that PSG do not have the biggest aerial presence in Europe. Not like Arsenal, at least, who are likely the best in all of Europe in that department. So I think PSG are probably going to want to play this game on the ground. If they do, I don't know if Arsenal will be able to compete. After all, one of PSG's main tactics over the last 2 years has been to purposefully kick the ball out to touch from goal kicks and kickoff to forego aerial battles and utilize their actual superpower, relentless team press. A superpower that has only increased thanks to the fact that PSG don't actually even need to play their main man in the league. Now, admittedly, I don't watch Ligue 1, but I do follow PSG because it's hard not to, and anyone that's challenging them in the league, and it seems like that was Lens this year, but that race is just about over. In any case, PSG have played 31 games in the league this season, but no PSG player has started more than 26 games overall, goalkeepers included. This record is held by Warren Zaïre-Emery with 26, and the only reason his numbers are so high is because he's their local Swiss knife, and he's 20. He's actually played a part in every PSG game this season. Second highest is Vitinha with 23 starts. None of Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, Ousmane Dembele, or Desiré Doué have started more than 16 games in Ligue 1. But the point is that they don't need to. PSG don't need them for the league. They're not there for the league. PSG sit 6 points ahead in Ligue 1 with no real reason to change this setup. Compare that with Arsenal, who have to put out their strongest lineup each week, as there is no guarantee that they're going to win their league. Now, again, I feel like I need to say this. This isn't an excuse or anything like that in Arsenal's favor or for English football or for whatever it is. It's a reality. And the fact is that PSG have operated like this, where they have players come in specifically for Champions League and European football and don't actually give too much regard to the domestic league for like 15 years now. And it's never really been an issue. The only reason I mention this now is because this is what a lot of people are going to be saying in the days leading up to this game, and perhaps after the game if PSG do win as an excuse. So I feel like I have to say it. Listen, Arsenal are a very strong team, and not just a defensive team. If they can really harness what's gotten them this far and not leave gaping spaces behind them like Bayern did in both legs of the semi-final, I think they have a really strong chance. And remember, we all have visible proof that this PSG is not invincible. Need I remind you all of the Club World Cup final when everyone thought that they were unbeatable and Chelsea were walking into a slaughter? That's not what happened. All of this is to say that the tactical battle between Luis Enrique and Mikel Arteta will potentially be one for the ages. And there we have it. I will obviously be live streaming the final when it happens because I absolutely have to. And that's all for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.